When I went to pick up my wife and mom from the airport, only my mom was there. My wife Lisa and my mom Carol had gone on a week-long cruise to Alaska together. It was Lisa's idea to take my mom on a trip since Dad passed away last year. She thought it would be good for Mom to get out and experience something special. They'd been texting me photos all week, pictures of glaciers, the ship's dining room, Mom laughing at the comedy show. Everything seemed perfect. Their flight was supposed to land at 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, and I was there waiting at baggage claim with flowers for both of them. I saw Mom coming down the escalator alone, pulling 2 suitcases behind her. I looked around, expecting to see Lisa following. Maybe she'd stopped at the bathroom or was getting coffee. But Mom walked straight up to me with this strange expression I couldn't read. "Where's Lisa?" I asked, still scanning the crowd behind her. Mom paused for way too long before answering. She decided to stay a few more days. Last minute thing. But her voice sounded shaky, not like her usual confident self. I asked why Lisa hadn't texted me about extending the trip. Mom said the ship's Wi-Fi was terrible, and Lisa's phone had been acting up all week. She handed me Lisa's purse along with her own bag. "Why does she have Lisa's purse if she stayed behind?" I asked, confused. Mom fumbled with the answer, saying Lisa didn't want to carry it around the extra days and would just use her phone and 1 credit card. But that didn't make sense. Lisa never went anywhere without her purse, especially when traveling. On the drive home, I tried calling Lisa's phone. It went straight to voicemail. I tried 3 more times with the same result. When I mentioned this to Mom, she got defensive and snapped that I was being paranoid. "She's fine, Mike. She's a grown woman. She can handle a few extra days on vacation." But Mom kept fidgeting with her seatbelt and staring out the window instead of talking like she normally would after a trip. She usually loved sharing every detail of her experiences, talking non-stop about the food and the people she'd met. When we got home, I offered to help Mom with her luggage. She quickly said she could manage and practically ran to her car. I asked if she wanted to come in for dinner and tell me about the cruise, but she said she was too tired and just wanted to go home. That was completely unlike her. Mom loved visiting and never turned down a home-cooked meal, especially after being away. I went inside and immediately tried Lisa's phone again, still voicemail. I checked our Find My iPhone app, but her location wasn't showing up at all. The last location ping was from Tuesday, 3 days ago, somewhere in the middle of the ocean. I started going through Lisa's purse that Mom had given me. Her wallet was there with all her cards and cash. Her passport was there too. Her medication that she takes every morning was there. Everything she would absolutely need if she was staying extra days somewhere. I called the cruise line customer service and asked about passengers extending their stays. The representative said that wasn't really possible since the ship was already heading to its next destination. Passengers had to disembark at the scheduled port when the cruise ended. When I explained the situation, she put me on hold for 10 minutes. When she came back, her tone had changed completely. "Sir, I need to transfer you to our security department." The security officer asked for Lisa's full name and cabin number. After another long hold, he said there had been an incident involving my wife, and I needed to contact the FBI field office in Seattle immediately. I tried calling Mom back to ask what really happened, but her phone went straight to voicemail too. I drove to her house and found all the lights off and her car gone. She'd never disappeared like this before. That's when I found the note Lisa had hidden in the inside pocket of her purse, and I realized why Mom was so terrified to tell me the truth. My hands are shaking so badly I can barely unfold the piece of paper. It's a hotel notepad, the kind with the cruise line logo at the top. The edge is torn where Lisa had ripped it from the pad. Her handwriting is rushed, jagged, nothing like her usual neat penmanship. "Mike, if you're reading this, I'm in danger. Your mother is not who you think she is." I have to sit down on the edge of our bed, the room suddenly spinning around me. I read on, my heart hammering against my ribs. Tuesday night, I couldn't sleep. I went for a walk on the upper deck around 2 a.m. I heard arguing from behind the maintenance door, your mom's voice, and a man I didn't recognize. When I peeked through the window, I saw her push him. He stumbled backward and hit his head on a pipe. There was so much blood, Mike. So much blood. She saw me watching. The paper trembles in my grip. This can't be real. My mother, the woman who baked cookies for my elementary school class, who cried at sad commercials, couldn't possibly hurt anyone. But the FBI security officer's words echo in my head. "There had been an incident involving your wife." She cornered me in our cabin afterward, said if I told anyone what I saw, she'd make sure I had an accident too. She said she'd done it before and gotten away with it. "Mike, she talked about your dad. She said his heart attack wasn't natural. I think she killed him. I feel like I'm gonna be sick." Dad's death last year had seemed so sudden, but the doctors said it was a massive coronary. We never questioned it. Mom had been devastated, or so I thought. I'm pretending everything is normal, but I'm terrified. I've hidden evidence in my purse, a bloodstained bracelet I found in her cabin, and a USB drive with security footage I managed to download from the ship's system. It's in the zippered pocket behind the lining. If something happens to me, take it to the police. Don't trust your mother. Don't let her know what you've found. I love you. I'm sorry. Lisa. The note slips from my fingers as I lunge for her purse again. I'd checked the main compartments earlier, but hadn't noticed anything unusual. Now I run my fingers along the inside, feeling for irregularities in the lining. There a small zipper hidden behind a fold of fabric. I pull it open with trembling fingers and reach inside. My hand closes around something cold and metallic. When I pull it out, I'm holding a delicate silver bracelet with a small charm. Even in the dim light of our bedroom, I can see the dark, rusty stains on the links. Blood, just like Lisa said. Beside it is a small USB drive, no bigger than my thumbnail. I stare at the 2 items in my palm, physical evidence that everything in Lisa's note is true. My wife witnessed my mother commit murder, and now Lisa is missing. I grab my laptop and plug in the USB drive, my breath catching as the files load. There are several video clips, all from different angles on the ship. I click on one labeled Deck 8, Maintenance, and watch as grainy security footage appears on my screen. The timestamp shows 2:17 a.m. Tuesday. The camera angle shows a narrow hallway with a door marked Crew Only. 2 figures appear, my mother and a man in what looks like a ship officer's uniform. They're arguing, their gestures animated, though there's no sound. Then, just as Lisa described, Mom shoves him hard. He staggers backward, his head connecting with a pipe jutting from the wall. He crumples to the ground instantly. I watch in horror as my mother looks around frantically, then kneels beside him. She checks for a pulse, then stands quickly. Her face turns directly toward the camera, and I can see the cold calculation in her expression, an expression I've never seen before. She drags the man's body out of frame. The next video shows her returning alone 10 minutes later, carrying what looks like cleaning supplies. She meticulously wipes down the area, disposing of the bloodied materials in a bag she carries away. I feel numb as I click through the remaining files. There's footage of Mom confronting Lisa in their shared cabin, backing her against the wall, her finger jabbing into Lisa's chest. Another clip shows Lisa at a computer terminal, looking over her shoulder nervously as she downloads something, presumably this very footage. The last video makes my blood run cold. It shows the ship docked at port on Thursday morning. Passengers are disembarking. I can see Lisa and my mother walking down the gangplank together, Mom's hand gripping Lisa's arm tightly. They pass through customs, then exit the terminal. The footage follows them to the parking area where a dark sedan is waiting. Mom opens the back door and practically shoves Lisa inside. A man I don't recognize is in the driver's seat. The car pulls away, and Mom stands watching it go before heading toward the airport shuttle. She planned this. She separated Lisa from me, and now both of them have disappeared. My phone rings, startling me so badly I nearly drop it. Unknown number. Hello? My voice sounds strange, distant. Mr. Mitchell, this is Special Agent Danvers with the FBI. We need you to come to our Seattle field office immediately regarding your wife, Lisa Mitchell. She's alive, I blurt out, desperate for confirmation. A pause. We have reason to believe she is. Yes, but she's in grave danger. And sir, another pause. We need to talk about your mother, Carol Mitchell. How soon can you get here? I have evidence, I tell him, my voice steadier now. Security footage from the ship and a bloodstained bracelet. Don't tell anyone else what you found, he says urgently. Pack a bag and come directly to our office. And Mr. Mitchell, watch your back. Your mother has connections we're only beginning to uncover. I hang up and immediately start throwing clothes into a duffel bag. As I pack, I keep glancing at the window, half expecting to see Mom's face peering in. The woman who raised me, who comforted me after nightmares, who nursed me through chickenpox and heartbreaks is a killer, and she has my wife. I grab Lisa's purse, the USB drive, and the bloodstained bracelet, wrapping the latter carefully in tissue paper. As I'm about to leave, I notice Lisa's phone charger still plugged into the wall. On impulse, I grab it too. Outside, the night is quiet, too quiet. I scan the street before rushing to my car, constantly looking over my shoulder. As I pull out of the driveway, I glimpse movement in my rearview mirror, a car parked down the street, its headlights suddenly coming on. I press the gas pedal harder. Seattle is a 3-hour drive from here, and I have no idea who might be following me or what my mother is capable of. But I do know one thing for certain. Lisa is alive, and I'm going to find her. No matter what it takes. I pull into the FBI field office parking lot at 2:17 a.m., the headlights of my car sweeping across an almost empty lot. My eyes keep darting to the rearview mirror, looking for the car that I swear had been following me since I left home. It's nowhere to be seen now, but the prickling sensation at the back of my neck hasn't subsided. Special Agent Danvers meets me at the entrance, tall, with close-cropped hair and eyes that look like they haven't slept in days. He ushers me through security without small talk, just a firm handshake and a quick, "This way, Mr. Mitchell." We enter a conference room where 3 other agents are waiting, laptops open in front of them. One wall is covered with photos and documents connected by red string like something from a crime thriller, except this is my life now. "We've been tracking your mother for 6 months, Danvers says without preamble, gesturing for me to sit. "We just didn't know she was your mother until yesterday." "What?" The word comes out as barely a whisper. A female agent, Agent Torres, according to her badge, slides a folder across the table. Inside is a photo of a body, bloated and pale, lying on what looks like an examination table. "This man was found floating near the Alaskan coastline early Wednesday morning," she explains. "He's been identified as Victor Keller, chief of security for the cruise line. Preliminary autopsy shows blunt force trauma to the head, consistent with the footage you provided." I stare at the photo, remembering the sickening thud from the security video as the man's head hit the pipe. "Why were you already tracking my mother?" Danvers and Torres exchange glances. "Mr. Mitchell, we believe Carol Mitchell isn't your mother's only identity. We've linked her to at least 3 other names over the past decade, all associated with suspicious deaths and insurance fraud." My stomach lurches. "What about my wife? Do you know where Lisa is?" "We're closing in," Danvers says, his voice softening slightly. "The car your mother forced her into belongs to a man named Raymond Weiss. He's a known associate of several criminal organizations that specialize in identity theft and insurance fraud. And this connects to my father how?" I ask, though I'm terrified of the answer. Agent Torres pulls up a photo on her laptop and turns it toward me. It's a group of men in business attire at what appears to be a charity event. She points to one man in the center. "This is Victor Keller." Her finger moves to another man standing nearby. "And this is your father, taken 8 months before his death." I lean forward, squinting at the image. "They knew each other?" "They worked for competing security firms," Danvers explains. "And we have reason to believe your father discovered something about your mother's activities shortly before his death." My mind spins with the implications. "So, when Lisa's note said Mom killed Dad, it's entirely possible," Torres says quietly. "Heart attacks can be induced with the right drugs, especially in someone with a pre-existing condition. I think of Dad's heart medication, how he'd been so careful with it after his first minor attack 2 years before he died, how Mom always made sure he took it on time. We need to search your mother's house," Danvers says, "properly, with a warrant, which we now have, thanks to the evidence you provided." An hour later, we're standing in Mom's immaculate living room. The house I grew up in suddenly feels alien, like every family photo on the wall is hiding something sinister behind it. 4 FBI agents methodically search every room while I stand in the center, feeling useless and numb. "Mr. Mitchell," Torres calls from upstairs. "You should see this." I follow her voice to my parents' bedroom. She's standing in front of Mom's closet, which has been emptied of clothes. The back panel has been removed, revealing a hidden compartment. "Jesus," I breathe. Inside are stacks of cash bound with rubber bands, at least a dozen passports with different names, but all with Mom's photo, and a small laptop. "Your mother mother has been busy, Torres says grimly, pulling on gloves before removing the items. These passports are high-quality forgeries. And this said, she holds up a small red book, is a genuine Russian passport under the name Katerina Volkov. My knees feel weak. My mother is Russian? According to our records, Carol Mitchell was born in Omaha, Nebraska, Danvers says, appearing in the doorway. But we found evidence suggesting the real Carol Mitchell died in infancy. Someone, presumably your mother, assumed her identity decades ago. I sink onto the edge of the bed, my childhood bed, where mom used to read me stories about knights and dragons, where she'd comfort me after nightmares. I don't understand. I've known her my whole life. Deep cover operatives are trained to maintain their personas for decades, Torres explains gently. Even with family. Mitchell! Another agent calls from down the hall. We've got something on the security footage. We crowd around a laptop set up on the kitchen table. The agent has accessed mom's home security system, which I didn't even know existed. He's pulled up footage from Thursday afternoon, the day mom and Lisa were supposed to return. Watch this, he says, pointing to the timestamp. 4:17 p.m., about 2 hours before their flight was scheduled to land. The footage shows mom entering the house alone, moving quickly. She goes upstairs, then returns with a small suitcase. She makes a phone call, speaking rapidly in what sounds like Russian. Then she leaves, locking the door behind her. Where's Lisa? I demand. She should be with her. We think your wife never made it to the airport, Danvers says. Based on the port security footage you provided, she was taken directly from the cruise terminal in a separate vehicle. But why? My voice cracks. Why take Lisa at all? Why not just get rid of her on the ship after she witnessed the murder? Too risky, Torres says. Your mother is methodical. The ship was about to dock, and a missing passenger would trigger an immediate investigation. She needed to get Lisa off the ship first. We've got more, the tech agent says, fast-forwarding through the footage. This is from the airport security cameras. The video shows mom at the baggage claim, retrieving 2 suitcases, hers and Lisa's. She checks her watch repeatedly, looking nervous. Then she makes another call, nodding at whatever the person on the other end is saying. She hangs up just as I appear on screen, flowers in hand, scanning the crowd. I watch myself greet her, looking around expectantly for Lisa. I see the moment mom tells me Lisa stayed behind, the confusion on my face, the way she quickly hands me Lisa's purse and makes her escape. She was terrified, I murmur, remembering how I'd interpreted her behavior as exhaustion. Not of me finding out, but of whoever she was working with. We think she's being pressured, Danvers confirms. The call logs from her phone show multiple communications with numbers associated with Weiss and his organization. Something went wrong with their plan. Mr. Mitchell, Torres says, her voice suddenly urgent. Your wife's phone, you said the last ping was Tuesday in the ocean? I nod. That was deliberate misdirection. Your mother likely threw it overboard after taking it from Lisa. She pulls up another screen. We've been monitoring all communications from known associates of Weiss. There was a text sent yesterday to a burner phone we've linked to your mother. She shows me the message. Package secured at boathouse. 72 hours max. My heart leaps. Lisa's alive. The package is Lisa. We think so, Danvers says. And boathouse likely refers to a property Weiss owns near the Alaskan port where the ship docked. We need to go there, I say, standing up so quickly I knock over my chair. Now, we have agents en route, Torres assures me, but we need you to stay here, where it's safe. Like hell, I snap, surprising myself with the vehemence in my voice. That's my wife, and my mother did this. Danvers studies me for a long moment, then nods slowly. We fly out in an hour, but you stay with me at all times. Understood? Your mother isn't working alone, and these people are extremely dangerous. As we leave the house, I take one last look at the family photos in the hallway. Mom and dad on their anniversary, me at graduation, all of us at Christmas last year. Smiling, normal, happy, all of it a lie. I'll find you, Lisa, I whisper to myself as I close the door. And Mom, I'll find out who you really are too. The coordinates on the USB drive lead me to a remote cabin about 30 miles outside of Anchorage. Agent Danvers insisted on bringing a tactical team, but I convinced him to let me approach first. She's my mother, I argued. She'll be suspicious if she sees FBI vehicles. So here I am, parking my rental car a quarter mile from the cabin, heart hammering against my ribs. The Alaska wilderness stretches around me, beautiful and indifferent. In another life, I might have appreciated the snow-capped mountains in the distance, or the dense pine forest surrounding the property. Now, all I can think about is Lisa. Remember, Danvers says through the earpiece they've given me, we're positioned in the trees. Give the signal if you're in danger. Don't try to be a hero. I nod, though he can't see me, and start walking toward the cabin. It's small and weathered, smoke curling from the chimney. Mom's rental car is parked outside. As I approach, I rehearse what I'm going to say, but every scenario ends with the same question. How could you? The porch creaks under my weight. I take a deep breath and knock. Silence, then footsteps. The door opens, and there she stands, the woman who raised me, who bandaged my scraped knees and cheered at my graduation. The woman who, according to all evidence, is a murderer. Mike? Her eyes widen in genuine surprise. What are you doing here? Looking for my wife, I say, my voice steadier than I expected. Can I come in? She hesitates, glancing over my shoulder as if searching for someone else. How did you find me? Lisa left a GPS tracker in her purse, the one you gave me at the airport. Something flickers across her face. Fear, maybe, or resignation. She steps aside, letting me enter. The cabin is sparsely furnished. A worn sofa, a small kitchen table, a fireplace with flames crackling. No sign of Lisa. She's not here, Mom says, closing the door. She's safe, for now. Where is she? I demand, turning to face her. Mom sighs, suddenly looking older than I've ever seen her. Sit down, Mike. There are things you need to know. I already know plenty, I say, remaining standing. I know you killed a man on that cruise ship. I know Lisa saw you. I know Dad's heart attack wasn't natural. Her face pales. You've been talking to the FBI. They showed me everything. The falsified passport in your closet, the offshore accounts, your real name, Katerina. She flinches at the name, then moves to the fireplace, staring into the flames. I haven't heard that name in a long time. Is any of it real? I ask, my voice cracking. Any of the last 35 years? Was Dad just part of your cover? She turns to face me, and for the first time, I see something genuine in her eyes voice pain. I loved your father, Mike. That wasn't a lie. Then why kill him? Because he found out. She sinks onto the sofa. Last year, he was going through some old financial records for tax purposes. He discovered discrepancies, accounts I'd hidden, money I'd moved. He confronted me, demanded to know who I really was. So you murdered him rather than tell the truth? I didn't want to. Her composure cracks. They made me do it. The organization I work for, they gave me a choice. Either I eliminate the security risk, or they would kill all of us. And you chose Dad. She looks away. I made it painless. He didn't suffer. My stomach lurches. I grip the back of a chair to steady myself. And Victor Keller, the man on the ship, he recognized me from before, from my previous life. He was blackmailing me. She rubs her temples. I didn't mean to kill him. I just wanted to scare him, but he hit his head. And Lisa saw everything. Mom nods. She was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I tried to convince her she was mistaken, but she'd already downloaded the security footage. So you handed her over to your associates? I can't keep the disgust from my voice. I was trying to protect her, Mom insists. If I hadn't gotten her away, they would have killed her on the spot. I convinced them she could be useful. Useful how? Insurance, she says quietly. Against you going to the authorities. I laugh bitterly. That worked out well. Mike, you don't understand the people I'm involved with. They're dangerous, international. They have connections everywhere, including the FBI? I ask, thinking of Agent Danvers' warning about Mom's connections. She nods. Some, not all. I step closer. Tell me where Lisa is. Now. I can't. Her hand moves subtly toward her pocket. If I tell you, they'll kill her immediately. They're going to kill her anyway, I say, remembering the text message. 72 hours max. You know that. Something changes in her expression. She reaches into her pocket and pulls out a small handgun, pointing it at me. I'm sorry, Mike. I truly am, but I can't let you interfere. I raise my hand slowly. You're going to shoot your own son? I don't want to. Her hand trembles slightly. But I will if I have to. You need to leave Alaska. Go home. Forget about Lisa. Like I forgot about Dad. I take a careful step forward. I know you, Mom. You can't do this. You don't know me at all, she says, her voice hardening. The woman who raised you was a character I played, a role. Then why are you crying? She touches her cheek, seeming surprised to find it wet. Sentiment, she says dismissively. A weakness I've never quite overcome. Where's Lisa? I ask again. At a boathouse near the port. But you'll never reach her in time. She glances at her watch. In 2 hours, she'll be moved to a location. Even I don't know. Then help me, I plead. Help me save her. Mom laughs bitterly. And spend the rest of my life in prison? Or worse, wait for them to find and kill me? We can protect you. Witness protection. A new identity. Another new identity? She corrects. No, Mike. I'm too old to start over again. Outside, a twig snaps. Mom's head jerks toward the window. You didn't come alone. FBI. I confirm. They're surrounding the cabin. Her expression hardens. You're wearing a wire. I nod. They heard everything, including where Lisa is being held. For a moment, I think she might shoot me anyway. Then her shoulders slump. You're more like your father than I realized. He couldn't leave well enough alone either. Put the gun down, Mom. It's over. She stares at me for a long moment, then slowly lowers the weapon. Tell me one thing, Mike. If you had to choose between Lisa and me, who would you save? I'm not Dad, I say quietly. I don't have to make that choice. The door bursts open. Agent Danvers and his team rush in, weapons drawn. FBI, drop the weapon. Mom places the gun on the floor and raises her hands. As an agent cuffs her, she looks at me one last time. I did love you, Mike. That part was never a lie. I watched them lead her away. This stranger who raised me. This woman I thought I knew. Danvers approaches, holstering his weapon. We've already dispatched a team to the boathouse coordinates, he says. If your wife is there, we'll find her. I nod, feeling hollow. What happens to my mother? That depends on how much she cooperates. He places a hand on my shoulder. You did good, Mitchell. You probably saved your wife's life. As we exit the cabin, I look back one more time. This small structure in the wilderness was supposed to be Mom's escape, her final hideaway. Instead, it became the place where her decades-long deception finally collapsed. Let's go get Lisa, I say, turning away from the cabin and the past it represents. Behind us, the FBI loads my mother Carol or Katerina or whoever she really is into a black SUV. I don't look back again. The FBI helicopter touches down on a gravel landing pad a quarter-mile from the boathouse. Through the window, I can see the structure weather-beaten and listing slightly toward the water, like it might slide into the bay at any moment. Agent Danvers hands me a bulletproof vest, which I strap on with trembling fingers. Remember, he says, voice raised over the slowing rotors, you stay behind the tactical team. We don't know how many of Weiss's people are in there. I nod, my throat too tight for words. It's been 36 hours since I confronted my mother at the cabin. 36 hours of debriefings, planning, and waiting each minute an eternity when I know Lisa is being held somewhere in that dilapidated structure. The tactical team moves in first, their dark forms spreading out through the tall grass like shadows. I wait with Danvers and Torres behind a cluster of boulders, straining to hear anything over the wind coming off the water. Go, go, go! A voice crackles through Danvers' radio, followed by the sound of splintering wood. Shouts echo across the distance. Then gunfire. 3 sharp cracks that make me flinch. My heart hammers against my ribs. Lisa is in there. What if she's caught in the crossfire? Suspect down. The radio crackles again. 1. Hostile. Neutralized. Sweeping the building. I start forward instinctively, but Danvers grabs my arm. Wait for the all clear. The next minute stretches into an eternity. I stare at the boathouse, willing Lisa to walk out unharmed. The radio hisses with static and fragments of communication I can't decipher. Finally, the call comes. Building secure. We've got a female hostage. Alive. Medical needed. I break into a run before Danvers can stop me, sprinting across the uneven ground, my lungs burning. I reach the boathouse and push past 2 agents at the door, ignoring their protests. The interior is dim and smells of mildew and fish. I blink, letting my eyes adjust. There, in the back corner, surrounded by agents, Lisa. Her wrists are raw from restraints, her face pale and drawn, but she's alive. Lisa, I call out, my voice breaking. She looks up, her eyes widening. Mike? I push through the circle of agents and pull her into my arms, feeling her body shake against mine. She's thinner, her hair matted, but she's here. She's real. I thought I'd never see you again, she whispers against my neck. I got got your note, I tell her, pulling back to look at her face to reassure myself she's really here. I found the evidence. Her eyes fill with tears. Your mom. In custody, I say quickly. She can't hurt you anymore. A paramedic approaches, insisting on checking Lisa's condition. I step back reluctantly, keeping her hand in mine as they examine her. Dehydration, mild hypothermia, bruising around her wrists and ankles, but nothing life-threatening. The relief makes me lightheaded. She hasn't been fed properly in days, the paramedic tells Danvers. We should get her to a hospital. As they prepare to move her, Lisa grips my hand tighter. Mike, there's more. Your mom wasn't working alone. She was part of something bigger. We know, I assure her. The FBI has been tracking her organization for months. Lisa shakes her head weakly. No, you don't understand. Your dad, he found out what she was doing. He had evidence. That's why she killed him. Agent Torres approaches, notebook in hand. Mrs. Mitchell, what kind of evidence? Financial records, Lisa says, her voice stronger now. Carol, your mom, she was part of an insurance fraud ring. They take out policies on wealthy people, then stage accidents. Your dad was an accountant. He noticed discrepancies in some of the companies she was connected to. I feel sick. So, when Dad died of a heart attack last year, it wasn't natural, Lisa confirms. I found his journal hidden in her cruise cabin. He'd written everything down, names, dates, account numbers. He was planning to go to the FBI the day he died. Torres is typing rapidly into her phone. This matches what we found in her offshore accounts. Over $12 million, spread across 7 banks in 4 countries. Did she tell you why she took you? I ask Lisa, still trying to process that my mother had murdered my father for money. Lisa's eyes darken. She needed the journal. She knew I'd found it, but didn't know I'd hidden photos of the pages on that USB drive I left for you. She kept me alive, thinking I'd tell her where the original was. The paramedics help Lisa onto a stretcher. I walk alongside as they carry her to the waiting helicopter. Your mom talked a lot while she thought I couldn't hear. Lisa continues, her voice fading as exhaustion takes over. She mentioned someone named Alexei who runs everything. Said he'd be coming for her if she failed. Danvers exchanges a glance with Torres. Alexei Volkov, Russian mafia. We've been after him for years. Will you be able to protect her? I ask, meaning my mother. Despite everything, some small part of me still cares what happens to her. If she cooperates fully, yes, Danvers says. Her testimony could bring down Volkov's entire operation. The helicopter ride to Anchorage is a blur. I hold Lisa's hand the entire way, afraid she might disappear again if I let go. At the hospital, they admit her for observation and fluids. I refuse to leave her side, sleeping in the uncomfortable chair next to her bed. 3 days later, we're back in Seattle. The FBI has arranged protection for us until the trial. Our house feels different now, tainted by the knowledge of what my mother did, by the absence of the woman I thought I knew. What happens now? Lisa asks one night as we lie in bed, her head on my chest. She's gained back some of the weight she lost in captivity, but still startles at unexpected noises. Mom's agreed to testify against Volkov and his organization, I tell her, in exchange for witness protection. The FBI has frozen all the accounts they could find. And your dad? I close my eyes, feeling the familiar ache. They're exhuming his body next week, if they can prove it was murder. Lisa squeezes my hand. I'm sorry, Mike. I know how much you loved him. I loved a mother who never existed, I say quietly. But Dad was real. He tried to do the right thing, and she killed him for it. The trial begins 3 months later. Lisa testifies about what she witnessed on the ship, about finding my father's journal, about her captivity. Her voice never wavers, even when my mother stares at her from the defendant's table. I testify too, describing the night at the airport, finding Lisa's note, confronting my mother at the cabin. Throughout it all, Mom Carol watches me with an expression I can't decipher. Is it remorse or just calculation? The evidence is overwhelming. The journal pages Lisa photographed, the security footage from the ship, the financial records showing millions flowing through shell companies, my father's autopsy, which revealed traces of a drug that mimics heart attack symptoms. Carol Mitchell, or Katerina Volkov, as the prosecution calls her, is sentenced to 20 years. Her testimony leads to the arrest of 14 members of the organization, including Raymond Weiss. Alexei Volkov remains at large, but his operation is crippled. 1 year later, Lisa and I stand in a small cemetery outside Seattle. The headstone is new, replacing the one that marked an empty grave. Now my father's remains rest here, properly honored. He would be proud of you, Lisa says, slipping her hand into mine. You finished what he started. I place a small stone on top of the headstone, a tradition my father taught me when I was young. I just wish I'd known. Maybe I could have saved him. You couldn't have known, Lisa says gently. She fooled everyone for decades. As we turn to leave, I notice a small bouquet of white roses at the base of the headstone. They weren't there when we arrived. There's no card, but I know who left them. Some part of her did love him, I think, just not enough. Ready? Lisa asks, tugging gently at my hand. I take one last look at my father's grave, at the life and death that were both built on lies. Then I turn away, toward the woman who risked everything to expose the truth. Yeah, I say, squeezing her hand. Let's go home.